Welcome everyone. Today we're analyzing Lucky Blue Smith. So starting with his facial thirds, okay? He has a dominant lower third. Ideal. Not much to say here. I don't want to bore you. He has great division of the facial thirds. Here's his first flaw. So his jaw is actually a little bit narrow in relation to his cheekbones. However, what I want to say here, we'll get into this, the flaw is actually due to having cheekbones that are too wide. That's actually the main reason he has a flaw. Not that the jaw is particularly small for his head, but this is still a flaw. His jaw is too narrow in relation to his cheekbones, slightly unideal. Next flaw, his face shape is a bit too compact at 1.26 times taller than wide. We want this at 1.33 at the low end. Again, this is depicting that his cheekbones are a bit too wide in relation to his skull rather than anything else. Lower third proportion, perfect. Eye spacing a little bit off here. We see the interpupillary distance is 43.9. We want this at 44.4 at the low end. Slightly unideal. His eyes are roughly one eye apart. It's still pretty good eye spacing. Not a big deal. Mouth to nose width, really slightly unideal. His nose is a little bit too wide. And it's a little bit bulbous. We'll get into his nose later. Whatever. Super slight flaw. Facial width to height ratio, again, slightly too compact. Again. 2.08. We want this at 2.06 at the high end. 2.05 really. The cheekbones are too wide relative to his skull, which is an odd problem to have, granted. But chin to philtrum, again, actually a slight flaw. His chin is a little too tall relative to his philtrum. Now, I don't even think this is a big deal because it's making his face longer, which his face is already too wide, so it's balancing that out a bit. And it's a masculine ratio, and he just has a short philtrum. I don't even see an issue with this. It's fine. Mid-face ratio. Another slight flaw, okay? His mid-face ratio is 1.03. It's essentially ideal. Almost 1-to-1. Really slight flaw. Canthal tilt's ideal. Positive. 6 degrees, perfect. Jaw frontal angle, nearly 90 degrees, completely perfect. This is where he's regaining some points back here. Harmonizes perfectly with his ipsilateral alar angle. So the jaw is 89 and this angle is 89. So it's perfectly harmonizing, which is great. Lower to upper lip. Yeah, his lips are about the same size. We want the lower lip around 1.4 times taller than the upper lip. Slight flaw. Low set eyebrows. This is a redeeming trait. Really, really good. Quite low set. Great. Perfect eye shape. Compact. Not too compact. Not too round. It's striking. It's masculine. Great. His eyebrows are a bit too positively tilted. I think most people kind of get this impression when you first look at him. They are like kind of like Ian Somerhalder's. They shouldn't be more than 13 degrees. Really, they should be closer to around 7 ideally. So yeah, his eyebrows are definitely too positive. His neck's wide, perfect. Bitemporal width, a little bit unideal. Could be a bit narrower. No big deal. High set cheekbones, very high set actually. These are extremely high set cheekbones. His zygote is clearly developed super well. Almost too well relative to the rest of his face. Because it, made his jaw a little narrow in comparison. Made his face a little too wide. But great cheekbones. That was the front. So we see very slight recession. According to the Frankfurt plane right here, we can see this is how we adjust the side profiles for consistency. And when we draw a line down from the nasion here, his chin is not actually meeting that line. So we see some slight jaw recession. Very slight. Not a big deal. However, his face is ideally flat. Ideal. Again, his face is just going to nail these convexity measurements. Ideal. Ideal. This is just assessing the brow ridge to the subnasal to the chin, and it's a good convexity. It's ideal. His the inclination of his philtrum in his nose, ideal. Despite being recessed, he is passing the lip assessment, this is a good sign. Ideal. Failed this one. Slightly failed on this one. Yeah, this one he passes, and then these 3 he fails. This is, and then also being recessed in the Frankfurt plane, this is depicting that he would benefit from a double jaw surgery, which I'll touch on later. But yeah, he has a good gonal angle. It's great. 118. It's perfect. And his mandibular plane is actually good as well, which is a great sign. It's in the ideal range, but the most attractive men do have it a little bit flatter, but it's okay. Good nasofacial angle, nasomental. These are kind of boring. Brow ridge, this is really important. This nasofrontal angle right here, assessing the brow ridge to the nose. This is super important. He nails it. Good mental labial here. Good nasal projection. Nasal width to height. The orbital vector, the under eye support's around neutral, which is actually above average. It's good. It's fine. Good brow ridge inclination. Nasal tip angle's a little acute. Whatever. No, it's fine. So the ramus of the mandible is slightly unideal. His mandible body is not long enough relative to his ramus, is what I meant to say. So he has a super long ramus. This is the ramus right here. His mandible could be longer in relation to it, but it's kind of like, it's not like his mandible is super short. His ramus is just super long, if that makes sense. Technically a flaw. He could have a longer mandible, which we'll get to, but whatever. And then his gonions below his mouth. Boom. That's the harmony right there. 74.4% front, 82% side, overall a 77.5% harmony, which is great. You can be one of the best looking men of all time with this harmony. Someone like Hexam or Sean O'Pry, they have around this harmony. So this is the best harmony out of hundreds of people. And harmony is simply only accounting for the facial proportions and ratios that we just broke down. I would estimate if you lined up around 250 people, he'd have the best harmony. Something around there. Now, what makes an attractive face is when you have everything, the angularity, the dimorphism, the features, and the harmony. So in terms of angularity, this varies from a 6 to an 8. Okay, so we're going to give a score based on that because it really varies. In this photo, it's like an 8. I give him a 7 in the median overall. If you look at his overall career, it's a 7. In this photo, it's an 8. It's above average easily. His strongest point is the cheekbones. He doesn't often have hollow cheeks, and from the side profile, the submental region's a little bit baggy, and in a lot of his career. I'll show you some more examples of this later. It's still very good in some images. Dimorphism. So this is how masculine or feminine he is. The only real issues, he gets an 8 out of 10. It's really high. It's up there with his harmony. Very, very masculine. The only issue here is the jaw width, the eyebrow density, and the face shape are feminine-ish, but still really good. Features. This is things like skin texture, eyebrow density, scleral color, nose bulbousness, eyelashes, hair, hairline. Like these are those type of things we're taking into account. He gets an 8, which again, really good score. He does have very, very slight upper eyelid exposure in some photos. Not this photo. He basically didn't get deducted. He does have a bulbous nose tip. This is a moderate flaw. He has a gummy smile, moderate flaw. He has an amazing eye color. That's a bonus. He has a medium eyebrow density. He has some tapering of the density to the lateral brow. And he has amazing eyelashes, huge boost. Overall, he has great features. And overall, he is a 7.9 out of 10 in his prime, which is a great score. That's the best face out of 4,000 people. Top model score. You know, he's better than Marlon 3LG. He's better than Justin Bieber, Cillian Murphy, Lorenzo Zerzolo. He's better than those faces. He's up there with Kit Butler, a face like that. He is more of a 7.5 when he's less lean, though. But in his prime, best face out of at least 4,000. That's an estimate. Could be more, could be less. Probably more. 7.8 harmony, 8 angularity, 8 dimorphism, 8 features in his exact prime. A lot of his career, I would say he is more closer to a 7.5. He had a very short window where he was super angular and he never got back to it. But yeah, I mean, in his prime, essentially an 8 out of 10. Great score. Rating discussion. So here we can see on my chart, he's with Simon Nessman, Kit Butler, Michael Mrazek. And he's, above a face like Archie Cranch. He's above a face like Vinny Hacker. He's slightly below a face like a Tesh Sala. That's his range. Super high, though. Could be 1 in 10,000. Could be just an estimate. He's well above average. He presents the appearance of a grown man with masculine features. I personally would have guessed a 7.75 to 8 for him at the first glance. His calculated score is very slightly below my 8 prediction, but he's essentially there. His largest flaw tends to be the slightly recessed lower third, skewing a few measurements, with his second largest flaw being how wide the face is. That's easily his second largest flaw. Best and worst. Best, skin quality, eye region, facial harmony, tall and projected brow ridge, wide masculine neck. Top 5. Worst, recession of the lower third, the nose, the lip ratios, the lip assessments from the side, and the eyebrow tilt. So let's get into some advice if you really wanted to looksmax. Rhinoplasty. In this morph, I think I made the nose a bit too small, but you get what I'm getting at. We would want to reduce the bulbousness and the width very slightly. I did a little too much, but you get what I'm getting at there. Here is a better example of the double jaw surgery. This would really ascend him. If he did this and that, I think he'd be an 8.5 already. We can see the rotation there with the double jaw surgery. how much more aesthetic his side profile would look. Yeah, huge. Would look really, really good. Increases dimorphism, his angularity, his lip assessments, correct the recession. Whew, I might do this if I were him, even though he's so good looking. I mean, such a good improvement. Bone shaving. If he really wanted to, he could shave the zygo width because they are just too wide. Correct his facial width to height ratio, his total facial width to height ratio. Fix his eye spacing relative to the facial width. Correct the bigonial to bizygomatic width. I wouldn't do this one. This is theoretical, but it would improve his looks technically. Tint the eyebrows. He should use minoxidil every day, dermastamp once a week, and then apply tint on the eyebrows to improve the density and darkness. It would improve his dimorphism and miscellaneous. And yeah, here's a final concept. As you guys can see, slight improvements. I think I could have done better on the nose. Yeah. Only other thing I add is he could get some fat grafting to the lower lip to balance that out a little bit. Could be something he could do, but clearly he doesn't need to do that. He's already a top model, already very good looking. It's just nice to show some theory of what could be done with any face, in my opinion. If you want literally the entire thing I just did, but for your face privately, I do sell reports. You can book a link down below. You can click the link down below and book a report. It's literally exactly what I just did, but for your face. I will literally do this entire report for your face. All the advice, best worst features, harmony score, place you on my chart, literally just everything. If you get the report, I would say you will have a complete understanding of your face, and you'll have the best advice to improve. I'll show you the examples of how it will look once you do things with surgery and without surgery. And if you just want a basic face rating or my advice, there are cheaper products. So you can just check the link down below. There are videos explaining what you get, how it works, if you're interested in my assessment. If you want to know how attractive you are or how you can improve, better understand your face, I'm definitely the guy that can help you though. So if you have any of those problems, I can definitely help you. Just check that link down below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.